Did you know that my most popular video on my YouTube channel is also the most controversial video of all? In that tutorial, I taught beginners how to trace a portrait and also to pick colors from a photo to paint that portrait. So literally no sketching or color theory were taught in the tutorial, and there was a huge debate going on in the comment section. So many people said that it was cheating, tracing is cheating, picking colors is cheating, and then you won't learn anything that way. But actually, I've learned most of my art skills just by copying when I was a little girl, because we didn't have access to a lot of education material back at that time. So since that video have launched, I have a successful YouTube channel, as you can see now, and my subscribers and followers would sometimes tag me in Instagram whenever they create art using some of my brushes or my tutorials. So recently someone tagged me in Instagram and I saw it, and I discovered that everyone has been using this shortcut to create portraits that are semi-realistic. So this semi-realistic illustration is kind of popular and trending right now, and there's actually a huge cheating shortcut to achieving that. And today I'm going to share that secret with you, but be warned, there is no color theory, no sketching tutorial, and I don't know what you're going to learn from this other than the shortcuts and the time that you will save today. So let's dive right into it.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to head over to Pinterest and find something that you like. So don't be afraid to find something that is very complicated or complex. You definitely would not regret this. So after you have found your references, go ahead and save them. So the portrait that I am going to do today is going to be a double portrait. So either this one or this one. So let's just save both of them down first. We will see which one turns out better. Let's just do this one as well for posterity's sake, because we really do not know how they will turn out. Okay, so after you have collected all your images that you want to paint, all you need to do is download this app called Procreate. Yeah, this is the app that you need to download. Okay, so once you open this app, oops, okay, let me just remove this. Ta-da! HD. Okay. Okay, so basically you can apply painting effects to your images or your videos as well, because they have just released this new update that they can allow you to apply the effect to your video. So this is all AI technology and is really amazing. So I'm not teaching you to be lazy here, I am just giving you options of what is available today. So let's try this image first. Okay, so we would go to effects, and then under the tabs here, look for AI. So if you tap on AI, you can see that they are all just listed here already. So you can just tap on any one of them to try it. So but make sure you are on the AI tab. The best one is still the cartoon tab. So it's gonna take some time for the first run, but if you are going to edit it after that, it's gonna be faster. So make sure that you spend some time on this. And of course, if you want to adjust the features like the eyes, the nose, the lips, let's say you are using your own photo, and the lighting as well, you can just adjust everything first before you go into this app. Okay, so this is how it looks like from the get-go, and you can actually edit the sizes of everything here. So you can actually make it more vibrant, less vibrant, but I would like to make the eyes larger. So I'm just gonna save everything down. Okay, then we can try other edits as well. It's gonna be faster this time because I think that the AI has ran already and all they are doing is just changing the effects. Yeah, so this is how you look like in another one. So play around and see which one you like to use for your painting. Okay, so I've tried everything and I already saved a couple of options into my iPad already, and I'm gonna try another photo. So I'm going to just load this one in, but this time I'm going to crop the image first before we continue. So this is the crop that I want, and then after that we'll just apply the filter again. Well, it seems that with the second photo it's faster already, even though it's a new photo. I think it's because they've downloaded the code already for the AI technology, so we don't really have to deal with that anymore. So okay, let me just adjust the size of the eyes. Okay, now I'm gonna try a couple more styles and see how it looks like. Oh, I'm super not into this. Okay, I think just now that one was good enough. So we would finish it with the last one. I think this is too low res to be used, to be honest. Yeah, So basically I chose this photo because it has very dramatic lighting, like the shadows across the face, but with the AI on, it doesn't show anymore. So we're gonna skip this photo because we actually do have to like see which one works best. So right now we have 1 and 2. So we kind of have to decide on which one to use. Okay, so these are the 2 images that I have. And so we're gonna start to repaint this in Procreate next. All right, let's just import this in and then let's set up our canvas reference. So just go to actions and tap on reference. And then what we want is to hit on image, import image, and grab the original photo so we can see it. Now we can close the rest. The first thing that we would want to do is probably recolor it. So let's try and recolor it using color balance. So the color balance tool is separated into shadows, midtones, and highlights. So for now, I would like to adjust the shadows and see if any other color would be better other than just brown. And then for highlights, maybe something different. I don't really like blue. I'm basically trying to take away the sunny look, because the sunny look is something that is very distinct for the Procreate app, so removing it would give it a lot more originality. Okay, so if it's at all possible, I would like to remove the background. What I'm going to do right now is to remove the blue in the background, because the blue is too saturated, so it's too vibrant, so it's going to stand out. We're going to have to gray it. What we can do is just hold your finger, select the color, and when you tap, you can see there's this classic harmony value palettes. So go to classic, because classic is really easy to adjust the values here. So what we want to do is to make it more gray and brighter. Going gray means going towards the center part of the square here, and then going brighter means you are actually moving towards the left. So we're gonna go diagonal to go both brighter and grayer, and then after that we're just going to drag the color in. Yeah, just like that. Now last thing we will want to do is go into curves and then just readjust the color a little bit to give it more, either make it darker. So if you push it up, it's going to go brighter, and if you pull it down, it's going to go darker. So we can adjust a little bit and find a point where you are comfortable with. And of course, the last thing you would want to do is to head over to adjustments, liquify, and you would spend your time here liquifying your painting if it's not up to your expectations. Like for example, you would want to make the eyes bigger or the nose smaller, for example. For me, I am pretty happy with how this turned out, so I'm gonna just leave it be. But if you need the option, the liquify tool is here. Okay, so right now we have the painting already. If you're feeling adventurous, you can actually repaint the entire thing, which I'm going to show you because I have to kind of demonstrate some artistic skills here. If you want to repaint your painting, all you have to do is just add another layer above and you can start repainting on this painting itself. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is recolor this portrait. So we're gonna just duplicate the original one so that this remains untouched, and then we would do our changes on a fresh copy. So to do that, we are going to change to a brush called change color only, and we're going to paint directly on this layer. So if you see here, there are some oranges and some reds going on depending on what portrait you're painting. So basically we want to restrict reds to cheeks, lips, and nose and eyes, so everything else should then be red. So I'm gonna pick some of the orange tones and recolor some of her face to reduce the redness a bit. Okay, then we can pick the red again and recolor the nose, make sure they're red. If they turn out pink instead of red, you can just push it to the other side. But this step is not really necessary if you're not comfortable with recoloring the portrait. It's just an additional step if you're feeling adventurous and you want to explore new colors. Okay, and I think I'm gonna put blue for the eyes. So let's just paint the blue over the eyes. And I'm not pressing very hard, because if I press very hard, this is what's gonna happen. So I'm pressing lightly so that I can just drop the tones in slightly and change the tones. Okay, for the lips, I'm gonna try and see if I want to keep it intense. So I usually like to have reds at the edges of the finger. I think it's really romantic that way. So we can do that if we want, and then we can of course reflect back some of the blues into the palm of the hand. Just a light touch would do. Now if I zoom out, I can see that the neck is super vibrant. It's like super orange for some reason. So let's try and mute that down. Okay, I think we're ready to paint. I am going to crop my canvas just like this. Okay, so this would be my crop. And so basically what we want to do right now is to have a fresh new layer and call that sketch. And we would want to clean up the sketch of this painting. So let's do that. So head over to the natural sketch brush, pick a dark color. Don't worry about how it turns out for now. Just sketch and have fun with it. Okay, for the face, you can actually implement a style of your own if you're already an artist. So for me, I'm gonna just sketch the face how I usually sketch my face, okay? Because the AI have already filtered out a lot of details, so you kind of have to refer to your original photo and put in some of the details that has been lost, okay? Okay, and then you would want to check the eyes. So you can see that for the eyes, it's wonky a little bit. So let's fix that. Don't worry about covering over the lashes because we can always just redo the lashes again. So all I'm doing is picking colors and recoloring the portrait. It's quite simple. And for the brows, I'm just going to drop a brown that I've picked from the hat. Let's do that again. Okay, I'm not really worried about destroying the painting at this point in time because we are going to repaint everything anyway. Just want to make sure that everything has the correct shape before we move on. I am also going to go to the duplicate layer and smudge some details away. Okay, now's the fun part. We're going to resketch most of the details. So I am going to go to hair round. This is the brush that we want to use when we want to add lashes. And you can just pick the colors from the existing painting here to help you. You can see that one double eyelid is gone, so we're gonna have to add that in ourselves. And for that side, we're gonna deepen the lids as well. So it's up to you which brush you use for the brows, but for me, if you like shortcuts, you can just try hair fine first. Okay, so if I use hair fine, pick a color, just drop in the strands like this first roughly, then after that you can refine it with another brush. Okay, then you can use the natural sketch brush to refine it. Then you look pretty natural from far already. So to finish this off, just pick a highlight color somewhere and then we will just highlight the eyes a little bit. Don't be afraid to try new things and don't be afraid to break the image. It's fine, you can always just undo if you do anything wrong. Okay, for the nose, we want to really simplify everything. So right now you see that here doesn't really make sense. So let's just simplify this shape. Pick some of the reds, reline it, make sure that everything is just easy to look at. And then for the highlights, you can just pick the highlight color, redo it a little bit. So from the nose, this usually flows down to the lips and also the eyes. So you can start by shading the eyes as well. Give it more definition. Okay, then when you reach the Cupid's bow, here should have a highlight. And then let's redefine the shadow again. And then make sure that the shape of the lips is really defined as well. So when it comes to the lips, you can actually just drop in your own highlights. But just make sure that you pick the colors from the lips so that they make sense. Okay, remember the hand that I sketched? We can actually just easily change the color if we just tap on it and tap on alpha lock. Then after that, once you tap on alpha lock, you can recolor it with any color. Like see if I color it with red, it will turn out red. So just pick a color that is suitable for that area and recolor it first, or the sketch. Okay, then we are going to unlock the alpha so that we can continue painting freely. So what we would want to do is redo all the highlights. So let's pick the highlights color and recolor all the highlights part. Don't worry if it doesn't seem to glow and it's not radiant right now, but we will definitely fix that later on. Just recolor and make sure everything is like the photo first. So for this step, it's really depending on the skills that you have as an artist. I mean, if you have really good skills in coloring, of course your artwork is going to turn out a lot better. So if you're interested in learning how to paint properly with color theory and etc of the like, you can just subscribe to my channel and then watch the tutorials that I post. They are all created using Procreate. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to put back the glow into the highlights. So if you see here, we have sections of highlights, shapes of highlights, like these are all the shapes for the highlights, and we also have the mid-tone shapes. So when the highlights and the mid-tone shapes meet, they actually have a very vibrant color, and that causes the glow. So for example, like this area itself is very vibrant. So because we repainted this section, so the part where the highlight and the mid-tones meet doesn't really have a saturated area, and that causes the glow to not happen. So to do that, just create a new layer, change this to color, and then try and pick a saturated orange and paint over the edges of the highlight. So once you have like a couple of sections painted, just zoom out and take a look. If it makes sense, then continue. If not, like for example, maybe I paint everything first. Okay, so let's say this does not make sense, right? And it doesn't look like it's glowing, it just looks weird. So if it looks weird, it probably means that you have picked the wrong color for the glow. So maybe the glow shouldn't be orange, maybe it should be pink or magenta. It's really depending on the colors that is surrounding your other colors at the moment. Everything is relative when it comes to color theory. So we can actually just easily fix this, but let me just put everything down first. I have painted all the glow section already in one color, and now we can just easily fix this glow. So what I want to do is I'm going to head over to hue, saturation and brightness, and all I'm going to do is just push the slider around and see what works best for this portrait. So this actually does not have a correct answer per se, but you do have to like analyze and see for yourself what works. So if I push to the left, it's going to be more pink, and if I push to the right, it's going to be more yellow, which going to green and blue. So you can also adjust the saturation. So I'm going to keep it at orange like this. I think it's good. So just adjust the edges and make sure that they have a vibrant color so that they appear to glow. Okay, there we go. So right now we are going to apply this same concept to her face. Okay, and I'm gonna apply more highlights to her face. So pick a highlight color from anywhere from your portrait. And if you see here, this edge doesn't really make sense anymore because it's supposed to glow, right? So I'm just changing it to the orange color. So this is something very simple that you can do during your free time, just using this app, the Procreate and the Prickle app. Okay, so I'm not going to show you guys how to repaint the hat. That's a bit too advanced, but I am going to show you guys how to redo the hair. Okay, so for the hair, let's repair those parts that we have painted over first. Just pick the color and using the sketch brush, just drop in all the missing hair that you have removed or erased while you were painting. So the technique that we are doing today is actually called overpainting. It's actually a valid technique for concept artists where they have images already and they are painting over it to adjust the image or to repaint the image into their style. Let's make a new layer. When it comes to hair, please paint from dark to light. If you do not paint from dark to light, you are going to run into problems because the highlights is not sitting on top of your shadows. Okay, so make sure that you're painting dark to light. So for this, go over to hair waves. Okay, now pick the color and add the hair in. Please use a soft touch. You do not want to overwhelm the painting with too much hair. Okay, especially areas like these strays. Make sure that you do not use that brush and go back to the sketch brush instead, because this gives you a lot more control. So you can easily add all the stray hairs here. So this step would actually improve the painting quite a bit because all the details were lost during the AI filter. So just alternate between hair waves, hair round, hair flat, all the brushes to get your hair to look more realistic. So this style of artwork is actually called semi-realistic artwork and it's all the trend right now. Everything just looks realistic but it's not. So it's kind of like in between. So once you have your shadows done, make sure your shadows are all done before you proceed. You can proceed to the mid-tones. So the mid-tones would be these browns and the highlights will be this. So now we're going to work on the mid-tones. So when you get started on the mid-tones, you'll find that you have to alternate between mid-tones and shadows because you will be painting over the shadows like this, and then after that you would actually need to retouch the parts that you cover. So which is why we have to do things in order here. So for example, here I have to cover back with the shadow. Then of course you can switch to the normal sketch brush to put in all the strays, which is here, here. One other reason of starting from dark to light is that you don't accidentally paint highlights where the mid-tones are, because sometimes when you paint you can easily mistaken mid-tones for highlights and the other way around. So if you paint like this, it shouldn't be a problem and you won't run into that problem itself. You can see that once we put in details for the hair, the portrait starts to really pop already. And one more tip is don't use shadow colors for stray hairs around the face. Like for example, if you're painting here, try to use mid-tones instead of shadows, because shadows is really too harsh at the edges of the painting. Okay, so once that's done, let's move on to highlights. So I'm just gonna pick the highlight color and repaint them. Okay, finally you will head to white. So when you're using white to paint hair, be very careful because this is actually like the brightest of the brightest color that you can use. So you don't want to overwhelm your painting with white or black for that matter. And make sure to really follow the curves and flow of the original generated image, or else you're just adding more noise and everything is going to look very messy when you're done. It shouldn't be that difficult to retrace the painting that is already existing on your canvas. So it should be pretty easy. So once you're done, you can put in final details like shadows that has been missing. Then for the final touch, you can actually just play around with other effects brushes. So I have a lot of brush packs that you can play around, like the glitter brush pack that you can use to drop in glitter that is really realistic and fun and pretty. So I'm just gonna quickly drop in all these effects and then we will call this done. There we go. This is my glitter brush pack and we can just pick any of them to play with. If you have my color palette, you can just scroll down to either holo or tints for highlights to get really interesting effects for the glitter brush pack. But remember that if you're using the glitter brush pack, use it on the layer that has the painting already. If you would like to add glitter to your cheeks or your nose, this is the procedure that you can follow. You have to first apply the soft pigment. So let's scale it down. Okay. So once you have the soft pigment for your cheeks, make sure you get the color that is vibrant enough. You don't want it to appear chalky. Okay, just lightly powder the cheek. And once you have that, you can proceed to soft brightening glitter. So this will actually give a soft effect first, so like that. Then lastly, you can just use any of the below to add the final glitter. So for a variation of colors, you can change colors when you are changing brushes, so that this gives like a more natural effect and not everything is the same color for all the highlights. So this is the effect that you would be going for if you're going to put glitter on the cheeks or the nose, but I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to undo everything. So I'm just going to leave mine like this and I'm going to call this done. So this is the tutorial. It's super easy and you're going to have a lot of fun. You don't really need a lot of skills. You can just learn about Procreate while you're doing this tutorial.
Okay guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. So this is a very quick and easy tutorial for beginners. You don't really need a lot of artistic skills, but of course if you do have artistic skills and talents, your artwork will be greatly improved. So if you're interested in learning more about Procreate and drawing seriously, you can follow my channel and look at my other videos in that form of education, which I teach a lot about brush making and also portrait tutorials in Procreate and the like. So if you have any questions, drop your comments down below and try not to fight so much this time, and I'll see you next time. Bye!